Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Hello, I'm Denes Boros, Grandmaster in Residence, and this is Viewer's Choice. Hello, everyone. It's gonna be fun, hopefully. So, let's see Alan James's game. E4, E5, Knight F3, F6. Now, I'm not a big fan of F6 because it's not a good move. Knight C6 is preferred, but if you want to draw the game, just play Knight F6 and you'll draw. But okay, F6, which is not good. Can anyone help me how to punish F6 quickly? I mean, Knight takes E5 is one option. Because takes, and G6 is not a good idea because of Queen E5 and the rook will drop. And then White will have a tremendous attack. Now D4 is fine though. E takes D4, Knight takes D4, Knight C6, Knight takes C6. Well, whenever you have a great positional advantage, it's not the best idea to start exchanging. It's better to keep more material up. So Knight C3 would have been better, or even Bishop C4, immediately pointing out that it's not a great idea to open up the A2 G8 diagonal. So Knight takes C6, D takes C6, takes. And shockingly, we're already in a Ruy Lopez exchange variation. Bishop D3, Bishop E6, castle, Knight E7, B3, A5, Bishop B2. B3 was a very good move. This is actually very well known from Berlin endgames where they developed the bishop to B2. Trying to exert some pressure on this blockade on F6 and G7. A5, Bishop B2, B5, Knight C3. Another idea would be to stop the expansion with A4 and also pointing out that A5 will be a weakness in the upcoming battle. Knight C3, but developing is never wrong. If you can develop a piece, that's always good. B4, Knight A4. B4 is a no-no because now the C5 square will be eternally weak. Knight A4, Knight C8, Rook D1, Bishop D6, Bishop E2, C5, F4. And now Black makes a terrible mistake and plays King E7, which is left unpunished. E5 would be winning a piece. F takes, and the bishop is suddenly trapped. Now F5 on the other hand, obviously E5 is the winner, but F5 from a positional standpoint is a very good move, as it prepares the onslaught with E5, because with the F5 move, Black is preparing to push through with E5. So it's a very good thematic move in general, but in this concrete situation, E5 was just winning. F5, Bishop F7, Bishop F3, and as was already mentioned by the message of the White player, he does have a very nice dominating position with White. And this is what you get when you start developing all your pieces and concentrate on the positional vices of your position. Now White is basically positionally winning. Even though he missed the early win with E5, he has a dominating bishop pair on F3 and B2, and also E5 is looming in the air. Rook D8, missing E5, takes, and then the rook was captured. But even if White wouldn't get this luxury of getting an extra rook, and let's say Rook B8, how could we increase our advantages in this position? It's fairly straightforward how White could play here. Any suggestions? E5 is an idea, yeah. Trying to open up the position.
Rook E1.
Yeah, rook E1. Yeah. Whenever we have an idea, we don't have to rush with executing it. We don't have to play E5 immediately. And I'll show you why. If we play E5 now, then he could take, rook E1, and the king could move to F6. C5 is hanging, and this is still wonderful for white. But if we play rook E1, which is considered a prophylactic move, the E5 idea is unstoppable. There's no way he could defend against it, and he can't move the king to F6 yet.
Bishop E5.
Yeah. But then if bishop E5, the C5 would be hanging.
Knight D6.
Yeah, I mean, black can still fight, but it's a pawn. So, yeah. So rook D8, and after E5, white won a rook and the game later on. So you can send in games to info@stlouischessclub.org. Was it perfect? Sorry.
No, that was perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Or yeah. So this game was sent by Rebecca from Brazil, and she asked if she played a perfect game in the Marshall with black. So let's flip the board and be black. E4, E5, knight F3, knight C6, bishop B5, A6. Very standard. Aronian loves it, so it can't be that bad. Bishop A4, bishop E7. Now, I've never seen Aronian play this, so it might be suspicious. Now, it's not necessarily bad, it's just unusual. I guess your idea is to transpose back to this type of exchange Spanish variation with this bishop E7. And this is a specific line in the exchange, and it would continue like castles. You can play F6. And if you like more extravagant plays, you can play bishop F6 and knight E7, let's say D3, knight D7, knight D2, knight G6. And this was played by a fantastic Ukrainian player, Romanishin, and it's a very interesting play. But I don't like that bishop on F6, so no, let's not do this. Let's play F6 instead. And then D3, bishop G4, and black has an okay position. So bishop E7, castles, knight F6, and we're back on track. Everybody knows this, everybody loves this. Maybe Giri doesn't like it, but we love the Spanish. Rook E1, B5, bishop B3, castle, C3, and D5. A position often dreaded by white. It's very exciting and interesting, but sadly it's been analyzed a lot, and many of the lines end in draws. E takes, knight E5, takes, C6. Now, the old line was actually knight F6 played by Marshall against Capablanca. It's a game well worth a watch. But C6 is obviously the main line. D4, bishop D6, rook E1, queen H4, G3, queen H3, queen F3. Now, queen F3 is kind of a rare move, not a good move, kind of suspicious move. What moves white usually tries is either bishop E3, and if, for example, bishop G4, then queen D3, and just before checkmate, the queen comes to the rescue. It's a long, long theoretical line with fighting chances. It's not over yet. There's still some life in this position. Also, there's this line with knight D2, bishop D7 or bishop G4, and it goes on with many, many complicated lines. Queen F3 is a little bit suspicious, and for a good reason. Can anybody help me why queen F3 is a little bit suspect in this position? There's a simple reason why this move is not so good. Bishop g4, but in general, what's the principal problem with queen f3? It does defend the king side, but white lags something. What is white lagging in this position?
If bishop comes to g4, then it has to go to back, and the safety of the queen will be different.
Yeah, I mean, bishop g4 is coming, but the question is, why is queen f3 not a good move? What is the reason why it's not good? There are principled reasons why it's not good.
Well, there's only a few tempos because of
Yes, the tempos.
In
Yes, the bishop on c1 and b1 is undeveloped, so it's just natural, it's wrong to move another piece out while you're being under attack. That's why bishop e3 or knight d2 is much better, because white is in hurry to catch up in development, exactly. So that's why queen f3 is not a great idea. Bishop g4, queen g2, queen h5, very good move. When you're playing the marshal, you're not trying to exchange queens, you're trying to play for the initiative. Knight d2, bishop h3. Bishop h3 is an okay move, but there's an even stronger move here. It's a very, yeah? Yeah, rook a8. It's a very classical way of playing. And usually asking the question where the queen should go should wait a little bit, because bishop h3 just makes life easier a little bit for white. So rook e8 is better. Also, it hinders white from developing more easily. For example, if rook takes e1, rook takes e8, rook takes e8, there's no knight e4 because of bishop f3. And also, after knight f1, rook e1, or even bishop f3 is getting annoying. I mean, g4 is still there, but it's already looking very bad. Or rook e1, and the position is near lost. Yeah. So rook e8 would have been better, but bishop h3 is okay. Bishop d1, and again, queen f5 is played, which is fine, but there's an even stronger, surprising move, actually, that could work in this position. It's black to move. It's actually a peculiar situation, because white is not defending against the threat of taking the g2 queen, instead attacks the queen on h5. You have rook a8 with the idea. What's the idea of rook a8? But how? How does it win equality?
take rook, take queen, check, and take queen.
Take rook, take rook,
Take queen,
take queen.
check.
And I'll play queen f1. Take, and white's a piece up. So is rook e8 good or not?
If rook takes, then queen takes d1.
Yes. Intermediate checks are important, and they win us games. And now white just loses a queen. So in fact, Rebecca, you would have won with rook e8 immediately, as white is forced to part with material. After rook f1, just takes, and takes more material on f1. And basically, white is busted. Because the natural way of defending in this position would be either on taking on e8, yes, or knight e4. But that doesn't really work here, because bishop takes g2, takes, and bishop takes e4. So queen f5. Rook e8 would be a winning shot here, though. Queen f5, queen f3, rook fe8, also a good move. Although I would prefer the ae8 move, because giving the option to your opponent to take your pieces with check could turn out to be a problem later on. Rook e8, knight e4. But after queen f3, bishop f3, f5, and the game of chess is a tragedy of a tempo. White is utterly lost because he lacks this one move, bishop d2. Now if obviously white would be on move, let's just make the position viable, this would be a normal position. But already this is blundering the piece, and white is just losing. Bishop takes e4, king f7, b3, rook c8, rook e2, knight f6, very good. Trying to exchange the pieces when you're a piece up, that's a good idea. Rook e1, takes, rook e8, takes, c4, king e7. And white has two pawns, but his king is too passive, so there's no real hope for survival. c5, bishop c7, and also c5 is not good, because he should try to build a fortress. White should be trying to hold still and hope for the best, even though it's lost anyways, because bishop e3 takes, bishop e6, and all those pawns on c4 and a2 will just fall. c5, bishop c7, f4, king e6, king d5, king e3, a5, g6. And slowly, black is winning. h5, b4, very good. Pinpointing that there's a weakness on b3. Takes. And this is just winning, so white just resigned. A good game, but summing it up, if you're playing the marshal with white, you need to develop your pieces. You don't have the luxury to wait and just defend your king, because otherwise you'll be just one tempo short. From the black's perspective, always try to find attacking moves which don't give extra options for white. Let's say rook ae8 instead of rook fe8, because rook ae8 doesn't give the option for white to give a check. And in fact, that was one of the winning moves that you could have played. But all in all, a good game. Yes, this is an interesting game. Caro-Kann, d5, e takes d5. Well, e takes d5 is a little bit timid, and I know it's very popular these days, but e5 is the main move. And also the old main line played by everyone was knight c3, d takes, bishop f5, and knight g3 here, h4, knight d7 here. And this is basically the old tabia position played in the Kramnik-Leko match. And also many classical games were played here. But surprisingly, it was played by Tony Miles with black, which is surprising because he's known as a creative player. But check his games out because they're fascinating. All right, so this was a little detour. E takes d5, c takes d5, knight f3, knight f6, c3. Now, if you're adventurous, you could even try knight e5, which was used by Carlsen to beat Dreyev, I think, in a rapid game. Many times, I think. And it's okay, it's playable, nothing special, so don't expect advantages. c3, bishop f5. And basically, white is playing a reversed kind of, yeah, reverse kind of Cambridge Springs structure and Carlsbad structures. Bishop f5, bishop e2, a6. Now a6 now is a little bit unnecessary. Knight c6, castles, e6 would be very normal with equal positions. a6 is defending against some phantom that doesn't exist anymore, because white is not really trying to play bishop b5 anytime soon. a6, castle, knight c6, knight d2. A very fine plan and good way of developing in these Carlsbad structures. It's coming around with the knight with knight d2, rook e1, knight f1, as it happens in this game as well. Bishop d6, knight f1, h6, knight g3, bishop g6. Now, bishop g6 is very normal in the main line, the one that I showed here. Bishop g6. But would everyone play bishop g6 in this position? Anyone would suggest a different move? Or you guys all agree that bishop g6 is best? Bishop g4, yeah, with the idea of exchanging off the knight, right, I presume? And to be honest, in these semi-close positions, the knights are worth a heck of a lot more than in open positions. They're actually more valuable, so just giving away this bishop for the knight is not a bad exchange. Bishop g4 is one option. What other options does white have? I mean black has in this position. Knight d7. Mm-hmm. Or bishop h7. How about that move? A very, very classy move, hiding away, tucking it away, safe, into a safe place, away from these nasty knights. Bishop g6, knight h4, bishop h7, bishop d3. And I really like this way, the way white plays, because white gives and uses this extra tempo that black gives him for free. Bishop d3, queen takes d3, b5. And why is b5 a little bit suspicious in this position? What's wrong in this position with the b5 move?
White is already trying to attack king side,
Yeah.
just ignoring it so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Black is ignoring the threats. And also, when your opponent is attacking, it's a good idea to castle. So castle was kind of warranted. And black would be fine in this position. I would say it's roughly equal, maybe slight bit better for white. In this position, what would white aim to do? What is the pivotal square in this position? What does white want to achieve as an outpost for his knight?
F5 or H5? H5.
Well, f5 is not viable now because they take. Knight h5, maybe. But there's one square that controls all. Just like in the Lord of the Rings movies. This is, yes, exactly. The e5 square controls all. Whoever gets that wins the game. So knight f3 is a good move. Queen c7, queen e2. And I'd be even inclined to play knight d7 just not to give you this e5 square. And the fight will revolve around this e5 square, and whoever gets it wins the game. But b5 was played, which wasn't good. Knight f5, castles. Yes. And white played knight takes h6. But is that the only option in this position? What other options does white have in this position? Because whenever you have sacrificial ideas, there might be other solutions, and you could use them, and they might be even better than your first thoughts. And that's why it's worth thinking about it. So yeah, we see that I decided to take on h6, which doesn't mean it's bad. But are there some other options here for white?
F4.
What was your first?
Knight take D6 bishop,
And?
and then our black bishop will be in F4.
Knight F where? Yeah, we're Queen F3, and it's a nice pressure, although let's be careful with this knight on H4. They can get easily trapped. But we're looking for ideas that actually facilitate white's attack, apart from knight takes H6.
Knight takes G7 cannot be really, maybe better, but hard to say now.
In fact, I heard the suggestion, knight takes G7, exactly. That's the other option, this position. Now, black needs to take. Second bishop, yes. Takes. And now there's a very, very nice sacrifice. And it's a very Tal-like sacrifice, actually. Knight F5? No, just take.
Rook E6, yeah. Oh, Rook E6.
Yes, rook takes E6. And this is a true Tal-like sacrifice, known from the game Tal Portish, where he sacrifices whole rook on E6. Now, this rook on E6 is taboo, because F takes, then it's just mate. And rook G8 is an option, but would be easily punished. How can we? Knight F5, or there's another solution. There's actually two solutions here.
Rook F6.
Rook F6, then the queen takes. Yeah, rook takes on D6. And there's no way you can take it back, because knight F5 check. And I take your queen. So knight takes H6 is an inspired sacrifice, and I'm not saying it's wrong, but there was this other option, playing like Tal. And actually Tal is, again, all the hype, as Alpha Zero is doing his best, its best to emulate the style of Tal, which is obviously a tough task, because he was a true genius.
King H8, bishop H6, king H8.
Come again?
No, king takes G7,
Yeah.
bishop H6, king H8.
King H8, yeah?
Because we don't want to lose immediately.
Yeah. I mean, you can play bishop G5, and you will have bishop rook E3, rook H3. Yeah.
There's really
Yeah.
tons of things to calculate.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to calculate. Or rook E3 is an idea to go with rover. So I'm not saying it's over, but it's something to consider. Knight H6, G takes H6, bishop takes H6. It's a very nice sacrifice. White already has 2 pawns, plus the attack.
Rook E6 is working still.
Yeah, and rook E6 still working, correct. So knight E4 was played, but bam, rook E4. D takes, queen takes E4. And whew. Oof.
F6.
Yeah, queen F6. Okay.
Hold it.
Queen F6.
Hold something.
Yeah. Queen F6 is nice. But the problem is that they take. Take. And if takes, it just take. I know you take on H2. Takes.
Still a lot.
But if I count well, and I don't count that badly, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 against 4, and I call the winner white.
Seems good.
Yeah, seems correct, right? Knight E7, queen G4. going for the mate, and that's the right thing to do. Knight g6, knight g6. And the problem here with black, that you're not just getting mated, you're losing all the material you had. f5, queen h5, rook f6, bishop g5, bishop takes h2. Whoa. Okay, king takes h2 is fine as well, I think. I don't see a problem with it.
Check.
There's a check, but I'll just move. And I don't see a reason why it should be depressed. Yeah, it's just great. Just great for white. King f7, queen h7. There's plenty of moves winning here. And oh, that queen sacrifice seems dubious. Yeah, but by this point, white is just totally winning. Any move is winning. Like queen f6 is also winning. And queen f6 takes, and white just wrapped it up. It was a nice game. Although if black would have castled, then that's what I advise you to do, whichever level you are. If you're a super GM watching this, please castle first and look around, because I don't want to see you get mated in 15 moves. So that's why you shouldn't play the Najdorf all the time. Sometimes you can play the Ruy Lopez. Okay, that's all for you, Super GM guys. Let's see this game.
I don't know why that's funny to me, but
It's Tony playing with black. All right, let's switch the colors.
Speaking of Sicilian.
E4, C5. Yes, speaking of Sicilian, it's back. C3. Well, not the most exciting, but still a viable option. Knight C6. Knight C6 is normal, but I think D5 is fine here. And if you're an aggressive player and you like the style of MVL, you'd play a knight f6, e5, knight d5, and play some cheeky chess. d4 takes, d6, and counter-attacking chances. It's roughly equal positions with a lot of dynamism involved, so it's fun. Knight c6, d3. d3 is timid. d4 should have been played. g6. Yay, close Sicilian. Bishop f4 is a bit suspect. I'd say g3 is better. Bishop g7, bishop g2, d6. And the classical way is knight f3, but if you have the option, f4 is interesting. The knight f6, knight f3, but has some extra space that he could use. Yeah. Bishop g7, h3, d6, g4. That's too brave for me. g4 is not great. Knight f6, bishop g2, e5. Good move. If your opponent gives you the chance, grab some more space. Bishop g3, castles, knight d2, d5. And this is kind of a reversed King's Indian position where white has a terrible structure, unlike black, who has a totally fine structure. Knight b3. Okay, knight e2 would be warranted. And it's still a fight, but I'd prefer black. Knight b3. D takes e4. Knight c5. E takes d3. Queen d3. Queen e7. Knight e4. Okay, knight takes e4. Takes f5. Well, f5 is okay, but what other options we have? What could we play in this position? Rook d8, yeah, that's a good idea. Stopping white from castling long. What else could we play in this position?
Bishop h6 as well.
Bishop h6, yeah. There's some very, very simple moves we could do here. Any ideas what normal moves we could make in this position? Yeah, bishop e6, yeah.
Why not bishop h6?
Bishop h6 is, it's not too good because it says that this move is either super or it's a little bit suspicious, because if you have enough pressure on this diagonal, it's worth losing a tempi. But if it's not that important, just develop your pieces. There's no need to rush. You're just better anyways. That's why I'm a bit wary with the f5 move, because now white will get to give some checks when there was no need to give some false hopes for white. After bishop e6, our opponent would realize that, yeah, I'm worse. And after rook d8, then f5, white would still be in big trouble without any extra checks that he didn't deserve. Takes, bishop f5. In fact, I'd prefer g takes just to push the pawns. Although we can already feel why we wanted bishop e6, because there's already a check. And white might have a time to actually reorganize. Bishop f5, queen e3, e4, castles. And now the situation is not as clear as before. White already has a good bishop on g3 that he didn't have before. It was just awful there. But as we played e4, the bishop just activated. So actually black dropped a little bit of the advantage here. So how could we continue here with black, apart from the move that was actually played? b5. It would still not meet. Knight e5, yes. I like that move. Also heading towards d3. Knight e2. We'll defend our queen first, because we don't want to run into this nasty little trick of rook takes d3. Takes and bye-bye. So knight e5 would have been a good move. Not. Yeah, knight c4 next is also a good idea. So rook c8, it's not necessarily a bad move, because even in many dragon positions, black does sacrifice the rook for the active black squared bishop. So the position is kind of similar to that. Bishop d6, queen e6, takes, king takes f8. And if we come back to the game, the Marshall game we looked at, what's similar to the Marshall game and this one?
White's pieces on the king side and develop the, or the knight and the rook on h1 and g1
Yeah.
develop. Black has strong bishop on the a1 h8 diagonal.
Yeah, exactly. So just like in the Marshall, as you pointed out, white is lagging in development. And also those beautiful bishops on g7 and f5. Mostly the g7. The f5 is useful though, because it puts some defensive effort on e4. So king b1, queen c4, knight e2, and knight b4. I like this move. Some heavy tactics going on, because if c takes, then it's goodbye in two moves. Okay, let's take with the bishop. I prefer bishop mates. So white is in kind of a danger, although knight c1 would be kind of annoying. Black does have pressure here though, with knight d5 for example, with ideas of knight takes c3s. Let's say queen e2, I'd strongly consider taking here and winning the game. Yeah, I'd like this. I like this with black. This is pretty good. So even though knight c1 would be a good defensive idea, after knight d5, black still has big play. You know. Queen takes e2. Wow. Takes e2. Queen sacrifices everywhere. E3 check. King B2 takes. King A3. Knight C2 check.
Rook C5.
Yeah, rook C5. That's just what I was thinking.
Calculated.
And that rook A5 seems to be
Four.
King A4. Yeah. I'm no alpha 0, but I wouldn't want to be white. This looks suspicious. I toy with ideas of knight C2. I don't see a clear win, but knight C2, queen takes, bishop takes. Oh, the rook arrives again. Rook D8, king E7, bishop C6. That's a bit desperate.
What about rook D5?
Yeah, rook D5 seems better. But obviously the problem is takes, takes, and E2, and game over.
Too many.
Too many pieces. King D7, bishop C6, rook A5. Takes.
No.
Takes. Yeah. Let's promote. Takes, and we promote. Rook takes C3. And now black wraps it up. Okay, with quite a few moves, but he does win. Checks everywhere. A5 takes, king B5 check. And slowly but surely, black won the game. This was a very nice queen sacrifice, actually. And I like this game. Queen sacrifices are good. If you can and it works, if you feel there's a huge attack there, try it. It's fun. All right, this will be it. This was the viewer's choice, and thank you for watching.